Hello and welcome back to the Untriggered Parenting Podcast with me, Paula Sampson Lawrence. Today my very special guest is Emma Fulenwider. Emma is an author and a mum of two, and she empowers parents to say no to the toy industry and yes to a calm home environment and to a more creative childhood experience for children. She believes that toy overload has a negative impact on childhood development and also negatively impacts mums already struggling with fatigue and mental health. Let's dive in. So welcome, Emma, to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Tell us how, you kind of got into this whole thing. What's your background? We'd love to get to know more about you.
Okay. Well, I'm a writer. I've had several roles in the publishing industry, but, I've pretty much stuck with making books happen one way or another.
Yeah.
And I have two kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I live in California. So, lots of keeping up with the Joneses and status chasing.
Yeah.
And I live in suburbia, that where keeping up with the Jones mentality was born.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I do. I'm a literary agent and I help people self-publish their books. So I've always kind of had this hybrid full-time mom, but, working on the side kind of thing going on, which I think a lot of people do.
Yes. I'm there with you. Amen to that.
Yep. And I have, always struggled with mental wellness. I have an autoimmune disorder. So that's sort of a blow to my mental health and also my energy. So having to do all of this with being really intentional about how I manage my energy and take care of myself. And going toy-free has been one of the best. It's been one of the best things that I've done to that end. And my kids, I think their childhood is better for it too. So that's why I'm a huge advocate for this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they hear of this, they're like, can you do that? Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. But I loved hearing about that because it's funny because I've spoken to 3 women this week and we've spoken about just illness and being a woman and how 80% of those who suffer from autoimmune diseases are women. And it's because we do carry so much the emotional weight of the whole household. And I've been talking to these women about what can you do to take back your power as somebody in the house who also needs to thrive and be comfortable and be happy in your home. And part of that, it sounds like for you, is not having your home being taken over by toys and adding to your stress and clutter and something else you've got to clean or something, And I just love how I'm just speaking to all these women who are doing all these different things to help their own wellness and look after their own emotional well-being, and that's why I thought it was a great topic,
Yeah, self-care it sort of comes across as the other thing you need to do, when really a lot of times self-care means taking something off your plate.
Yeah.
It means finding the thing that you can say no to. For a lot of stay-at-home moms, you are expected to volunteer. You're expected to help, be the one who hosts for the holidays. And so learning to take things off of your plate is where I've learned to start. And not having toys all over the place. It was a total impulse. And I completely underestimated the positive impact it would have on our home and on me personally.
Yeah. So quick story. I have 4 kids, right? And with my first 3 kids, my living room constantly looked like the Toys R Us store, basically. By the time my 4th one came along, there's a bit of an age gap. So we purged a lot of the toys. And then I realized that my youngest son, just boxes, things he found around the house, were what he loved to play with. And I said to myself, I'm not ever going back to my living room looking like it was vomited in toys. Why did I even do that to myself? The stress, the overwhelm of looking at it and trying to organize it and everything. So I know you are all about the less toys children have, the better, if any. So please tell me more about that, because I'm totally on board with you with that.
Well, it sounds like it's the same kind of situation. My daughter was just always dumping out her toys. There were toys everywhere. And I don't think people realize until they do the toy purge, the kind of low key anxiety that it gives everyone in the house to just have that kind of chaos that you have to walk through, you have to walk around. And so that's what we were doing. We were walking through it and walking around it. And we parent with natural consequences, you know, so she was always breaking her or always stepping on her stuff. And I said, honey, if you keep stepping on all of your toys, they will break and we'll have to throw them away, and that would be sad. And as I heard myself say it, I was like, that wouldn't be sad. No, that would be wonderful.
That'd be okay, actually.
Yeah. And you know, you're always nagging your kids to clean up their toys, but it's a big job and it's chaotic. And so, yeah, we did away with the toys, and people think that that's mean, but I don't think they really understand what a kindness it is to your child and to yourself to have a calm environment. So the effect that it had on not just my toddler, but our whole family was so drastic. And I am not a minimalist. If you walked into my house, you wouldn't even notice that there were no toys because it looks like a regular house, you know. But just she slept better. The way she played was different. And same as you, I would send pictures to my in-laws or my parents, you know, right after Christmas. I'd be like, she's playing with the egg carton that she dug out of the recycle bin, you guys. You know, like
yeah. Boxes, wooden spoons, you know.
Yes. Children learn. They are self-motivated to learn. You do not have to give them a toy that teaches them how to learn. So
yeah,
I applaud you for noticing that and for saying, why have I done that to us? How about no? How about no?
How about no? Exactly. But
Yeah.
for a lot of mums, it's going to sound like, what do you mean? How do you even, you know, so what is that mindset? What shift do you have to have in your mindset to even go, I'm going to reject this whole thing that has been so embedded in our, you know, in our consciousness, our culture, our everything?
First, you have to recognize where the mindset came from. The idea, so toys make a lot of promises. Toys promise your child that they're keeping up, that they have status, that they are going to be an engineer, a genius someday, that they have confidence. Toys make all of these promises, and they're completely false. There is no toy that is going to, there are people who buy toys for their kids to just to prove to themselves that they can afford a nice Christmas when they actually can't afford to buy, you know, all of the gaming systems and everything. I mean, it's over the top. So people are trying to prove something to themselves. And there is no toy that can elevate your status. There is no toy that can give you confidence. There's no toy that can turn your child into the next Mark Rober. There is no toy that is going to make them stylish. So this is a game that we all play. And I just stopped playing it. I was like, I'm not playing this game anymore. So really, you have to just decide what's important to you. And I don't think our children having the most stuff that costs us a lot of money and gives us all anxiety is important to any of us. You know, so once you really decide what's important to you, it's a lot easier. And you don't have to go cold turkey. You can do things, and Christmas is a great time to practice this by starting with a toy-free wish list. Very simple. Or even just deciding, you know, we're just gonna buy each of the kids 3 things, you know. So that's a good way to start, is just realizing that this mindset that you have, there is a billion-dollar industry that has fed it to you. It's not a natural thing.
No.
You know?
I think we forget that, don't we? That, you know, all these holidays are driven by consumerism, really, and they want you to spend, they want you to buy. And it has nothing to do with, like you said, what that toy can do for you. Just buy it anyway, is what they want us to do. But I'm glad you mentioned the lead up to Christmas, because we are officially in the lead up to Christmas. And I loved that you said you can do things like have a, you know, a limit on your list, or, you know, change you can do like experiences instead, or get more creative with it. Because I think Christmas is a time when I think it's just easy. It's Christmas, you have to buy gifts. Let's just go into the store and just buy whatever. But how do you get more intentional about what you are buying, and making the right choices, I suppose, for your family?
Well, it is hard. And even though we've been toy free for years, I have totally caught myself just picking up a toy because they have a whole toy section at Target. Like
Yeah.
they make it very easy for you to go, oh my gosh, we have that birthday party tomorrow. I'm just going to wander over to the toy aisle and pick something. And so it is just sort of this natural thing. So it does take a little more mental work to deprogram.
Yeah.
But on my landing page, there's 75 toy free gift ideas just
I
to
love that.
lighten that mental load, because it
Yeah.
is. And when we told our in-laws and my parents we've gone toy free, yeah, creative people, smart people would be like, well, then what can we buy them? They couldn't think of a single thing other than toys. And these are not stupid people, So I think another thing that really helps is to get your kids excited about giving gifts. Like make it
Yeah.
about giving gifts
Yeah.
for them. Even if they're not doing with their own money, you say, hey, I'm trying to think of what to buy your brother. What do you want to get him for Christmas? And have
Yeah.
them really excited about what they're giving.
Yeah.
There's a trend really for us to practice gratitude. And it's become sort of this buzzword. And I almost wonder if it is a supplement to consumerism, because even though talk about gratitude has gone up, consumerism has not gone down. So it
No.
is almost like we are trying to justify our consumerism by saying we're also grateful. But true gratitude, and your kids are going to pick up on this, true
Yeah.
gratitude is being grateful for what you have, even when there's something else that you want that you don't
Yes.
have.
Yes, absolutely. That is so important. I would love to hear about how you transitioned. How did you make that, shift into being toy free? And was it a gradual thing, or did you just go, that's it, no more? And how old were
I
your
tried.
kids when you did it?
Well, my daughter was 3, I want to say. She was
Okay.
2 or 3. So super young. So we've
That
always
is,
been, and I've since have a son. So I only have 2 kids.
yeah.
And we did this early on at the beginning. I tried to do the Marie Kondo method where you hold each toy and go,
Yeah.
spark joy.
Does it bring
And
you
that is
joy?
honestly, it's just too much time. It's too much work. And I
Yeah.
only ever got rid of a couple broken things.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do and have continued to do, because we still acquire so many toys, is I got a giant box, and every toy in the house went into that box. And my kids got to pick 5 things that they were going to keep out of that box.
Yeah.
So this actually makes it a lot easier for people like me who deal with, if you've got ADD or ADHD, or
Yeah.
you get really overwhelmed, you get decision fatigue, maybe you're struggling with depression, it's the holiday season, it's winter. If you have fatigue issues, huge
Mm-hmm.
percent of our population have fatigue issues. This is what worked for us, was to
Mm-hmm.
put everything in there. And the fact that the kids were gaining something back from that pile um, took the focus off of everything that was going away.
Yeah.
So it really flipped it so that everything was going away, but you can save 5 things. And because that's the thing, everyone's afraid of the meltdown, when you're
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
everything, but it really reframes it so that they are keeping things from that pile. And that's what worked for us. And
Yeah.
honestly, when the toys pile up and I tell my kids, I think it's purge day, they start chanting, purge day, purge
Do
day,
they?
purge day. Not even joking. They love the way their room feels after purge day.
Yeah. Yeah.
They love that it takes no time to clean their room, so that's how we did it.
Yeah.
You can also, some people just put everything in a box and put it in the garage,
Yeah.
or I'm working on sort of playing around with this idea of just having a toy free room in your house, or
Yes.
sending the toys on vacation for a couple of weeks, so that you're
Mm-hmm.
like, the toys will come back, they're just going to go, and just see how it goes. So these are like simple steps that you can take to see if this is
Yeah.
for you, to get your kids used to it.
Yeah.
And but the wish list is key. The
Yeah,
wish list
yeah.
is key. Yeah.
I tell you what I struggled with, which I'm really happy that you mentioned about if you have, decision fatigue or if you're just tired in general, overwhelmed, there's too many things happening, you can't make decisions. Because I struggled with that. And I would put these toys in a box and I'll say to my kids, we're getting rid of it. Then they'll start going, no, I still like that and I still want that. And so then I thought, let me do it when they're not here. But then I thought that's not fair in case there's something that they really wanted to keep. So what I did was, and this could just be my procrastination, I don't know. I have put it in a box and I've put it under the bed. And I said, if we don't take this box out in 1 month, I'm going to put it in a bag and we're dumping it. And
Mm-hmm.
they did not pull that box out of, under the out from under the bed, so I dumped it. So I'm doing that in stages where I'll put everything in one box and I say, okay, if we don't play with this thing, then I'm giving it away or it's going in the bin. But when I go through it with them, I find that they just all suddenly have all this nostalgic memories attached to them and they don't want to get rid of, this, that, and the other. So
Yeah.
you still think it's better to do it together and get them to pick something that they might want to keep.
Honestly, your method is beautiful. That's the way I purge my clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I put everything in a bag, and whatever, if I go, oh man, you know what? Actually, that would be the perfect for this, and take it out. Whatever I haven't taken back out
Yeah, yeah,
goes. So
absolutely.
I hadn't made that jump to doing that for toys just because I know what works for us, but I know
Yeah,
that method that you just described works perfectly. So
yeah.
that's also a method that people can do. Yeah, yeah.
And you mentioned it briefly because like you said, I think we've attached meaning to these toys that we've told ourselves stories about them that are not true. Like you said, it brings you some sort of status. And if we're honest with ourselves, how many times have somebody has bought our kids some gifts and we've gone, no, either it was too loud, it didn't have an off button, it was too dangerous. And we've not been able to
Yes.
say that's not really quite suitable. We just kind of take it and then hide it somewhere or ditch it or whatever. A lot of these toys are not even suitable for purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am a shameless regifter. I am
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
shameless. And there was a school bus my daughter had, made a lot of noise. Um, and when I purged the toys, I kept a couple of things in case she asked for them.
Yeah,
I also have kept a couple of things that the kids can trade. If they do all their chores, then
yeah,
on Fridays they can trade one of the 5 things they've kept for one of the 2 things that's in the closet. They
yeah.
rarely ask to trade, but sometimes they do. So I had kept this thing, or I was going to donate it or give it away. I can't remember, but it was in my closet. She hadn't seen it in months. And
Uh-huh.
she said for Christmas, she wanted a pink school bus. And so I wrapped it up and I gave it to
And
her
again,
for Christmas again. And she was so happy. And she was like, oh, it's just like the one I used to have. Look, the back door is broken and everything, just like my old one.
oh, I love
I mean,
that.
there was one year that, and it remains one of my favorite years. I made her an oven out of a cardboard
Yeah,
box. I
yeah,
just took white packing tape, covered in white packing tape. I drew little burners on it. I made little burner dials out of
yeah.
bottle caps. I mean, this thing was upcycled out of garbage
Mm-hmm.
because she loved to watch me in the kitchen. And so
Yeah,
I cut a little door, so she could put things inside of it. And it was a cardboard box, ladies. This is what I gave her for Christmas, was a cardboard box. And my husband he took a cereal box and he cut
yeah.
little tiny stars out of it and fitted it over her nightlight so that it projected stars. So this was the
Oh,
year we literally gave our daughter garbage that we had turned into something
into
that she
something.
would love.
Yeah.
And we're not broke,
No.
like we
Yeah.
did that on purpose. So it's not even stories that we're telling ourselves. These toys
Mm-hmm.
come with promises. They come with promises that it's going to
Mm-hmm.
prove to your child that they are affluent. It's going to
Yeah, yeah.
prove to your child that they are smart or
Mm-hmm.
capable or whatever. And they're not, they're false promises. It's all marketing. It's
Yeah.
all marketing,
Yeah.
So really being intentional about your gifts will,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you buy your child the top 5 the top 5 toys that everybody else is getting this year.
Yeah.
When your kid is different,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
what's the thing that makes them special that they're really going to love? And it might not be a toy. If your kid really likes to cook, what if you get them their own spatula and measuring cups and, you know, a recipe book, cooking classes? There are tools and so many things that you can get your kid that says, I know you. I see you. I see you loving this thing. I see your skills and your inclinations. And kids want that. They want to be known. They want to be seen. They want to be understood. They want that encouragement. And an intentional gift says, this isn't for all the kids you go to school with. This is for you.
Yeah. No, I love that. And how do you navigate when it's their birthday, for example, and other people, for example, their school friends, if you have a get together or anything, how do you navigate that situation of people buying them stuff? Do you stipulate in advance, we'd appreciate this kind of thing, or do you just not mention it and see what happens?
I try not to control what other people do because I've just been to too many of those birthday parties where they say, don't bring toys, instead Venmo me money and we'll use it on something. And that to me takes away the purpose of gifting. You're like, I'm sorry, but like my brother gets all worked up every year because he's like, oh, he looks at the things he got and he's like, if I had this money, I would have spent it on something else. Therefore, it's not a good gift. And it's like, no, gifting is not an efficient way to acquire things. That's not the purpose of gifting, you know? So, you know, if someone forgets and buys my kid a bunch of toys, we say, thank you very much. And then behind the scenes, take the toys away. And honestly, like, oh,
it's
well,
okay.
people get,
yeah,
it's fine. What people want to give is what people want to give. People who know me well, sometimes remember that we're toy free. When we go to birthday parties, we tend to just tie money onto a balloon, you know, kids love to get money. So all of my nieces and nephews and their friends like
gave us money.
Yeah, they do. And it's become a thing that, you know, all my nieces and nephews know, like if there's something that you wanted that you're not going to get, well, you're getting money from Auntie Emma. So it's going to be fine, you know?
And do your kids ever ask for things? You know how now it's Christmas, run up to Christmas, they go heavy on the advertising. So billboards, going into shops, adverts, you know. So do they ever see things and they go, can I have this thing? Do they do that, or do they just think differently?
My kids don't so much. We don't watch a lot of television, so they aren't exposed to a lot. I
Which
hid
helps.
the Amazon the Amazon gift guide when it came. I did immediately.
Immediately.
Immediately. Because they go through and they go, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. And they immediately start getting that. These are the things that I want that I don't have.
Yeah.
So I always say, well, if you want to buy that, that's fine.
Oh, that's good.
You know,
yeah.
So, but I tend to not take requests for gifts.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be a surprise. I want it to be something that they're really going to love. And my kids trust me to get them something that's really, really special for them that they wouldn't have thought of.
Oh, that's good.
So it's not like they're not ordering off a menu. That's just not, it's not a great mindset for receiving gifts.
Yeah.
For them to be like, oh, but I wanted this.
Yeah. I would love to hear if there's like a mum listening, which is the mum I was about 5-6 years ago, where you're surrounded by all this stuff now, and now you're thinking, no, this is not how I want to carry on. So what are some of the practical step by step to go from that whole overwhelming, how do I even purge this, to then moving into more of a, you know, intentional gift giving from then on, after you've got over the overwhelming purge?
There were days when I literally took a shop broom to my house just to push all of the toys into a corner. If that's what you need to do in order to clear space in your life to think about what's for lunch and just do the next thing, please do that. There are moms, I'm sure there's a mom listening who's there right now where they are just, there is so much psychological noise when you've got mess and toys everywhere. So you can't send your kid into a room full of toys and say, clean it up. That is overwhelming for kids. It's an unfair expectation. If cleaning it up sounds overwhelming to you, just put everything in a room that has a door and shut the door. Whatever you need to do to create some calm space, do that first. Even if it means literally taking a shop broom and just pushing everything to a corner, and putting a blanket over it. I mean, some people have to start there. Start with creating, buy a box and say, whatever fits in this box is what we're keeping. Or pick a room of the house where no toys are going to be allowed. I used to have a nothing room in the first house that we rented. There was an extra room and no one was allowed to put anything in it. It was the nothing room. It was the place where I could go and there was nothing in there and my brain could be quiet.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So yeah. And the problem, like, people forget that this is your house that you're paying the mortgage on, or you're paying the rent. Okay. So what comes into your house should serve the whole family. It should create an environment where everybody thrives. And we've sort of created this environment where mom has to serve everyone's need. She's part of the scenery. And that's unfair. Your house needs to be a place where you thrive also. And if that means your kids have to get rid of the kitchen set that has a million tiny pieces and replace it with something very simple, do that, because you not thriving is not an option for your child having a healthy childhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't think about whether or not your kids are going to like it. If it's really harming you, then that's enough to just act.
Yeah.
At
the end, I'm going to get you to share the link to your, what is it, 75 creative ideas that's not toys. Can you give us a little can you give us a little example of some of the things that are on there?
So they're in categories. So there's tickets to things is fun. So a lot of people take experiences. Well, what if you live far away from your grandparents or whatever? So tickets to things, memberships to things like zoo passes. Oh my gosh, one of my friends, she bought a car wash pass because her kids loved going through the car wash. She was like, for this month, we can go through the car wash as many times as we want. So time together, memberships to things, classes. There's so many classes online for kids, cooking classes and STEM classes and things like that. There's also a couple of things that it's still stuff, but it's stuff that goes away. So there's replaceables. Like if your kid ruins their earbuds, or whatever. So, maybe you get them a new backpack, a new rain jacket, or a pair of wellies, or things that they need seasonally that they tend to grow out of or wear out. It's nice. It's nice to have, I've heard stories of grandmas who buy their granddaughter a pair of cowboy boots or something every single year. That's the special thing that they get from grandma. So replaceables is a good one. Bike helmets, things that need to be replaced, because since you're replacing something, it's not taking up extra space because the old one is going away.
That's a good idea.
And consumables, things that you use up. So bath bombs, things that you can eat. Like my daughter really wanted this really, really sugary cereal. It was mermaid cereal. And she was having a mermaid themed birthday, and her auntie said, what does she want? I said, please buy her a box of mermaid cereal. Because that saved me from giving in to her always begging me for mermaid cereal. She never got a yes from me. The begging didn't work. She got a box from, Auntie Lisa. And guess what? She didn't like the mermaid cereal. So
of course she didn't.
So those are the categories. Things that you're either replacing every year, or things that they can use up, and then that's it. They don't have it anymore.
I'd love to know though, what was that day like for you that switched, that you just went, you know what, that's it? Because was it sort of an overwhelming day, or was it more calm? You thought, I want to do things a bit differently.
It was just being constantly with that anxiety and with keeping up and seeing that my daughter didn't care about her toys. thought, well, I don't care if she has these, and she doesn't care if she has these.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing myself say out loud, we'd have to throw all the toys away and that would be sad. And realizing that wouldn't be sad. That wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
sad. And I said, do you want me to throw all your toys away? And she was like, sure. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, my last threat was, I'm going to take the bookcase out of your room and you will have no books. You will only have dressers and beds. And my kids were like, yes, dressers and beds, dressers and beds. Like, take it out. So I took the bookshelf out because there were always books on the floor, you know? So kids actually, they really, especially around the age of 3, but increase, you know, even beyond that, they need a calm and ordered environment. They need it so bad. Yeah.
What's the biggest pushback you get? You mentioned earlier that people think it's mean.
They think it's mean. They think they think I'm some kind of extreme minimalist. Which I'm really not. It's not a drastic lifestyle change.
No.
Once you get rid of the toys, it feels the same. You know, people say, oh, if I got rid of my toys, then I would have to entertain my kids all the time. Incorrect. Actually, if you got rid of your toys, your kids will learn to entertain themselves better. You will spend less time answering, I'm bored, because I'm bored happens the same amount. And I always tell my kids, like, well, I'm excited for you because adventure happens on the other side of boredom. Your brain has to pass through boredom in order to get to adventure. And so, you know, if you are giving your kids toys because you feel the responsibility of keeping them entertained, there has never been a correlation between happiness and access to entertainment. There is correlation between connection to community, to your ability to discipline yourself and delay gratification. And, you know, those are the things that kids learn when they don't have a bunch of toys around. They learn how to play with other people and spend time with people. They learn how to problem solve and, you know, persist through a problem and persist through boredom. Because what toy overload does, and this is sort of nerdy for a moment, when a child picks up a toy, there's this 30-second bump in dopamine. And if they have mountains and mountains of toys, then when that dopamine falls off, they put that toy down and they pick up another toy. And they just go from dopamine hit to dopamine hit. And dopamine addiction is a real problem that we're seeing in kids. It establishes addictive behavior very, very young, especially with screen time. There's also, you know, this will carry over to them asking for screen time nonstop. So when you give them just a couple of toys, what happens, and don't tell them how to play with them. Just say, I found this thing, or don't say anything. Let them play with sticks. My kids love sticks. All kids love sticks, you know. Don't tell them what to play or how to play. Say, go outside. I will call you back in an hour. I've told my kids, I'm going to do laundry for an hour. What are you going to do until I'm done with laundry? And they, you know, so once the dopamine wears off, they find a new way to play. And that deepens their understanding, and it deepens their problem solving, and it deepens their learning and their creativity. And so it is actually a disadvantage from a developmental standpoint to have tons and tons of toys, even if they are STEM toys, you know, it doesn't matter.
I know.
Like the best learning thing you can give your kids is literally nothing. If you give them nothing, they will learn more than if you give them all the STEM toys in the world.
Because my 4-year-old, he's nearly 4 actually, he's not 4 yet, he's 4 next month, but he builds the most amazing things out of boxes, books, and he'll just put these things together and make these, you know, things, and then he'll come and tell me about it. And I'm like, I didn't have to buy him Lego. I didn't have to get him blocks. He just found things to make these things. And then he gets these strings and he ties them and he makes them these. And I'm just like, look at that.
It's amazing. Isn't it amazing?
It really is. It really is. So just to finish up, how can people connect with you or find you online if they want to find out more about what you do?
Well, if you look for the Toy Free Home, hopefully you'll find me. I'm on Instagram at Emma Fulenwider. I have a Toy Free Home group on Facebook. And also, I think I sent you the link, but there is a page to get the 75 toy free gift ideas.
Yeah.
And if you want to, there's also an email series that walks you through doing the toy purge, setting boundaries in your home so that you can stay toy free, and also having discussions with people who give lots of toys, because for some people that's their love language. That's how they prove that they love your kids. And sometimes it's hard to hold that boundary and say, no, I'm in charge of what comes into my home. Just because you give my kids a refrigerator box full of toys doesn't mean we have to keep them. That's not fair.
That's so true.
I explained to my mom one time, I was like, Mom, you love shoes. If I bought you 50 pairs of shoes a year, you would eventually beg me to stop, right? That's what I'm saying. I am begging you to stop.
Please stop.
So once I said that, she got it,
She got it. It clicked.
Kind of, guiding people through those conversations.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So, but you've given me a lot to think about still. And I think this is so important in the run up to Christmas. It will be a good sort of, put your training wheels on and just see how you get through this Christmas by sort of paring it down and seeing how that feels. So thank you so much for chatting with me today. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'll definitely get all your links. I'll put them in the show notes so people can access those a lot easier. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if no one has told you today, you're doing a great job and I'm proud of you. See you next time.